This is Ferrari's new 12 cilindri Manuale. It's a 6.5 litre V12 with rear-wheel drive and a manual gearbox. Except it isn't, because this isn't a traditional manual. This gearbox and this clutch pedal actually have no physical relationship with the engine and the gearbox at the back. In this video, I'm going to look at the inside, the outside, and try and figure out why that gear stick is at least a partial lie. I'll also be running through the other special series cars to see if this one stands up. Now you might think, after the controversial launch of the all-electric Ferrari Luce, this is Ferrari trying to convince us that they can burn dinosaurs with the best of them. But to be honest, I'm not going to complain. What I can tell you is that standing here in the heart of Ferrari's design centre, being watched by Ferrari PRs and Ferrari security, that the Luce is probably a very brilliant car that we just don't understand yet. But whatever you think to Ferrari's lovely Honda, this car should be much easier to digest. The engine hasn't changed. As ever, this is a 6.5 litre V12 with natural aspiration. It does without turbochargers, superchargers, or any kind of electrical assistance. That makes 820 brake horsepower and some 500 pounds-feet of torque.
And if you were wondering about the numbers, 0 to 62 in just under 3 seconds and 211 top speed. So pretty much the same as the normal car.
Externally, the cars look all pretty much the same, although every single of the 1,499 versions all go through the tailor-made program, so they're all a little bit special. These all have these kind of pinstriped elements on this black mask, which ape the ones on the original Daytona. And then as we come round the side of the car, all of the Manuales get bespoke wheels, and then they get these little shields that are placed into the side of the car. And these are made with a laser etching process that's more used for precious coins.
And although this is not root and branch different from a normal 12 cilindri, you can have a livery in various schemes that pays homage to the 6-speed gearbox. And if you're not into that, there are 25 colours available, and the kick plates have the car's logo engraved into the aluminium or painted onto the carbon option. So it's for those who know.
Then at the back you get more pinstriping on the active aeros. These are the wings, don't forget, that act up. And then more liberal use of carbon fibre and quad exhausts like all Ferrari's V12 cars. But the interesting bit is actually on the inside, because that engine usually drives an 8-speed DCT. But in the Manuale, we get this. Now that just looks like a traditional 6-speed Ferrari gearbox. And there are 3 pedals down here, but there's actually 2 layers to this car. Underneath is the traditional 8-speed DCT, so that would usually have paddles behind the steering wheel, but they're missing here. It does, however, have reverse neutral drive, so if you wanted to get in this car and treat it like a normal GT, you just put it in drive, and then it's an 8-speed DCT, with all the convenience that you get from that gearbox. But if you get to a twisty road and you want to do something a bit more fun, you press the clutch pedal and you can put it in gear. Now, the interesting part about this is, this gearbox and this clutch pedal actually have no physical relationship with the engine and the gearbox at the back. So how do they build that gearbox? Well, it starts with this. Now this is the basis for everything. This is where the gear stick comes up from, and it's milled from one block of aluminium, so something about that size, and they make this little piece out of it. And that gives the basis, the solidity for everything you do with the gear stick. And then you get this item, which actually gives you the planes of movement for the gear stick. So that's in and out and back and forth. That is the start of a gearbox. And then it starts to get a little bit more recognisable. This is obviously the traditional sphere that you get on Ferrari gearboxes, and the open gates that make that noise when you change gear, that kind of clack, clack. Now this thing here is actually the locking mechanism. So if you try and put this thing into gear where, I don't know, you're travelling down a motorway doing 70 and you try and put it into first, it will actually lock out that gear. So you can't make a mistake with this gearbox. But this is where it starts to be about the mechanics of how that feels in your hand, about whether this feels like a proper Ferrari manual. But when you've had your fun on a twisty road, you can then change this from a 6-speed manual into an 8-speed DCT gearbox. And you can see the differences. This shaft here is actually hollow and it's got a wire in it, which means that you can have a light on the top. Now, if the light is white, that means it's in auto mode. And if the light turns amber, that means you're in manual mode. But you can't make a mistake with it. Every time that you need to be in manual, you just flick a switch and you can change gear. And the clutch pedal is essentially the same kind of system. So everything about pushing that pedal is a mechanical thing that then develops into the electronics and tells the gearbox what to do. This is all machined from aluminium, and it's got a series of springs and rockers and rollers to make that feel like a natural progression through your clutch foot. The interesting thing is they've put in feedback on this pedal. It's essentially got a torque curve, so it feels like it should be natural. You'll be able to stall this car. So there is actual technique to being able to drive it in the 6 speeds. Now those 6 speeds are basically the first 6 speeds of the 8-speed gearbox, so you can only access the first 6, but that's all you need because the other 2 are overdrives. It's not a direct connection, but Ferrari's trying to ape that kind of physicality of changing gear, of getting it right. And if you're in an automatic mode and then you place it into a gear, you can pre-select. So then you just whack it, release the clutch, and this thing will drive away. It's really clever, but the big question is whether this will feel like a manual gearbox or whether it will feel like a computer game.
Now you might be thinking this is sacrilege, essentially putting a fake manual gearbox in a Ferrari. But Christian von Koenigsegg came up with a similar idea a few years ago for his CC850, and it's been well received. In fact, here's Bugatti boss Mata Rimac trying it for the first time during Top Gear's Boss Chat series.
Yeah, you got a hang of it.
This is crazy. I love it.
It's fun, right?
I mean, this shifting is incredible.
It feels pretty natural.
I told you when I heard the first time about this, I was like, why didn't I come up with this? I was jealous.
Yeah, put it in auto once, you can just try it.
Yeah, let's try this.
Yeah, you push it down.
Ah, you push it down.
Push it down and over, and now you're in auto.
Like old Volkswagens.
Exactly.
And now it's just auto.
Yeah, I will just shift like that. Boring, but...
Yeah, it just works. And how do you... you don't have the
It's
pedals.
option. On this one, it's option.
Okay,
We
yeah.
first didn't plan it, and then people kind of wanted it all, so we're doing it as an option. This one doesn't have it.
Yeah. No, it's amazing.
You just flick it out and you go into whichever gear you want.
Incredible. So from 5th to 2nd,
Yeah, if you want.
no problem. Okay, let's go one more cool down lap. This was incredible, Christian. Wow, what a
Thanks.
machine.
Glad you liked it.
What a machine.
It's emotional. It's just analog, but techie analog mixy thingy.
Crazy.
So maybe the Ferrari is missing the paddles that the CC850 offered for the full auto, manual and flappy paddle experience. But the man putting a naturally aspirated V16 into the next Bugatti approved of the Koenigsegg version. So this is a car that leans on the experience aspect of a 12-cylinder Ferrari rather than just adding wings. But what if you're a rich person who wants a Ferrari but needs to narrow down just how exclusive and expensive and hard to get you want it to be? First is the general range of cars, so that's 849 Testarossa, the 296, 12 Cilindri, Pura Sangue and Amalfi, all with a couple of spiders thrown into the web. Then there's the Special Series, which consists of 296 Speciali, SF90 XX and 812 Competizioni, and this new 12 Cilindri manual, again plus open-top versions. The F80 hangs under the supercar banner, but if you want to get really high-end, then there's the Icona cars, Daytona SP3 and Monza SP1 and SP2, if you could actually buy them. Got that? But then you can go tailor-made, which gets you any spec you want in terms of paint and trim, or one-off, which is a fully bespoke car. Top Gear's favourites include the recent HC25 based on the F8 Spider, the 2020 Omologata based on the 812, the P80/C based on a GT3 racing car, the SP48 Unica that's really a Tributo, and Eric Clapton's SP12EC based on the 458 Italia. The numbers on those are strictly price on application, and it's usually a big price.
So despite its protestations that Ferrari wouldn't do a manual gearbox again, this is kind of offering the convenience of an 8-speed DCT, but with the involvement and the experience of a manual. What do you think to it? Is this going to be a success? Let me know in the comments.